another question or with a parable. He wasn't being difficult, but rather requiring them to engage with the topic and explore it more in depth, not settle for superficial answers. Jesus could have responded that way. He could have said, just do it, learn as you go, or study the scriptures and figure it out for yourself. But he didn't. He didn't roll his eyes or dodge their question. I think their hunger to pray thrilled his heart. So Jesus taught them to pray. Think about that. Jesus, the perfect, divine teacher, put whatever plans he had on hold for that day just so he could teach his crew how to do what he did best. Pray. He gave them a simple, specific prayer. We call it the Lord's Prayer, but it was more than an empty formula to recite. It was a sample prayer, a template to follow, a starter pack for prayer newbies, if you will. Why did Jesus take time to teach prayer? Because although prayer is vital to the Christian experience, it's easy to neglect, and it's always intuitive. On a basic level, prayer is not hard. Anyone can talk to God. That's why there are no atheists in foxholes, as the saying goes. But the nuances and the intricacies of prayer take time to understand. We often have misconceptions that hinder our prayer. We have perspectives of God that are not healthy. We expect the wrong things from prayer or try to use it in the wrong way. When God spoke to me that morning by the lake, I started thinking back over my own prayer journey. I realized that I had specific moments when I learned to pray, sometimes on my own, and sometimes through the teaching and example of leaders in the faith. I realized that prayer is a learned skill. That's important because we can be intimidated by it sometimes. We can feel frustrated that we aren't better at it, or that we don't enjoy it more, or that we don't see more results. Nobody is born knowing how to pray, though. It takes practice and experience. You grow in it. You improve at it. That really is the purpose for this book, to be honest, to learn how to pray. We will explore the purposes and practice of prayer and cover practical advice about how to pray. As we begin, I'd like to share a few of those pivotal moments when God taught me to pray. Lunch and prayer. My prayer journey starts when I was 16. My parents were pastors in a small church in Western Washington, so prayer, worship, preaching, Bible, church attendance, and other spiritual disciplines were familiar to me. I wasn't too interested, though. I didn't see the point of it all. I cared more about basketball, girls, Sports Center, and the Seattle Supersonics than I did about meeting with God in prayer. And I was fine with that. Ironically, during those teenage years, I couldn't shake the sense that I was going to be a pastor someday. I tried to ignore it. I told everyone I was going to be either a basketball coach or a DJ, anything but a pastor. I was determined to pursue my own future, and I couldn't imagine church being a big part in that. I was also deeply unhappy. I remember feeling lost, anxious, and unsettled. Even though I filled my life with friends and sports, I was unfulfilled. I wanted a change. I just didn't know what that looked like. At age 16, I attended a large Christian event called Promise Keepers, and I had a genuine encounter with God. Even now, nearly 25 years later, I don't know how to describe it, other than to say that God made himself real to me, and nothing was ever the same. Overnight, I found myself insatiably hungry for God. The stress and emptiness of my life drove me to prayer. Every night at 10 o'clock, I would be on my knees next to my bed, praying to a God I was just beginning to know, with my Bible in front of me and worship music blasting in my ears from my Sony Walkman. Yes, a Walkman. I'm that old. I had a Walkman back when they were cool, not a classic or vintage. Cassette tape, side A, side B, fixing mangled and tangled tape with a pencil. If you know, you know. Prayer was calming for me. It took me to a place of surrender. It settled my anxiety and filled the